is our history. Buildings and people and memories and dreams. Who better to tell us than those who were there? There's so much to learn from the stories they'll share.
Living history. Living history.
Hello, welcome to another Living History program with Ted Goldsboro. Our guests today are Dr. and Mrs. Sam and Dorothy Edgerton. They're local people, but they've been living in Williamstown, Massachusetts for many decades. And we welcome them back for several days here, and we're going to talk about why and where they lived in Lower Merion and what schools they went to. And we're going to have a good time, and we appreciate their coming. Why are you here at this time period?
Well, it's an interesting story. This goes way back to 1963, when I was here and got involved with the Civil Rights Movement and with the Ardmore Avenue School closing, and got connected with this woman named Isabel Long Strickland. And I guess I'm the last living member of that group that met with in July with the Lower Merion School Board, and which I think turned it around finally for them to agree unanimously by that fall to close the school down. So it's a historic moment. And through a lot of strange coincidences, even going through one of my graduate students who happens to be the collections director for the new museum in Washington, the Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture, who got talking over dinner, suddenly this all came up. And it ended up where I am here today. And of course, it suddenly tied in with the dedication of this wonderful plaque on September 12th. And as I got to get friendly with Wendell Howland and with you, and with a woman named Carolyn Tyson, another a historian who's working on this subject, conversations, visits to our place, our farm up in Williamstown, and here I am. Yes, yeah.
Well, we're delighted to have both of you with us and appreciate your coming down, making the effort, and even coming here today to be interviewed for this program. Mrs. Dorothy, where did you grow up and go to school?
Went to school at the elementary school at St. Matthias and lived at 352 Calvert Road, Merion. That's Bowman Road and Calvert Road. So I consider my growing up as the nucleus was there at that house. We could walk to St. Matthias and walk home. And then walk to Merion Mercy Academy, where I did high school. And walk down to the to the train to go into Philadelphia to work. And my recreation was across the street, ice skating on a pond.
Which is no more.
Which is no more, It was the Pocock Estate. And the Victory Garden up the hill. This was wartime, we had Victory Gardens. And then over the hill where we had our reception at the Merion Tribute House. So it was, I just figured that this was our nucleus, my nucleus.
Yes. Were you at St. Matthias familiar with the Von Tropps being there?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
When we would walk to school up at Sycamore Road or maybe drive in the morning, walk home, they would be filing 2 by 2 up the road in their uniforms. And their lederhosen, yes. And singing in the St. Matthias choir at the 5:30 Mass, which was glorious.
Were you...
I was part of that.
But 60 years later, when you were a kid, a young person, were you aware that this was significant?
Of the Von Tropps? Yeah, I kind of lost them. I don't know. I think they went to Maine.
Vermont.
Vermont,
yes. But as it was occurring and they were singing in choir, did you think it was special?
Well, we did, because they were housed there.
On Merion Road.
A very generous person allowed them
the drinker.
housing. The drinkers, yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks for sharing that. I should be digging in here, but trying to find pictures. I took some pictures recently, and I guess the house looks about the same.
Oh my goodness. Well, it has a little roof over the front door.
Oh, you didn't have that?
No.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
And the garage doors look old. That's the kind that we had in the 1950s, so I imagine those are the old doors probably.
Yes, and the back door was just a back porch, an interior back porch into the
Okay.
kitchen.
Did you used to enter the house that way?
No, front door.
Oh,
But
through
you
the
know,
front
as a
door.
kid, you know, we did have other people walking in that back door who wanted a cup of coffee.
Oh.
Late Depression. I remember that.
Can I make a comment here, because this reminds you of something with the looks like leaves on the ground. When I was courting Dottie, that her mother would always say, "Would you like to go out and rake leaves?" That was part of our courtship.
Show what you're worth.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Dr. Sam, you grew up, help me.
Please.
Winwood? Oh, Cleveland.
Well, I was born in Cleveland.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And when my father was transferred here in 1943, 44, he worked for Curtis Publishing Company, and he was moved to the main office here. We all moved up to Lower Merion Township in actually January of 1944 as that year began.
Ooh.
That was the last semester of my senior year, and I went into Lower Merion High School at that time.
Was it hard for you to leave Cleveland during your senior year?
Well, I was going to write to General Julius, who sat right in front of me in my new homeroom. I mean, this is a kind of reverse segregation, if you would. I was a little skinny kid, and I was in this brand new school of all
Put
these
you behind
strange
a big
people.
black, right?
Yeah, and here was Julius right in front of me, who's a great football hero. And I remember he always turned around and smiled at me and said hello. I think he was the first person to say hello to me, and all of a sudden I almost felt like Wendell the other way around when he went into his school. Yeah.
But was it hard, difficult? I mean, did you prefer to stay in Cleveland and
Well,
finish?
of course I had friends, and leaving all that was hard to do. But the new school kind of thrilled me, and I got very much fascinated by the sports because Shaker Heights High, where I'd gone in Cleveland, I think in 10 years they'd never won more than half the season of the football game. And suddenly they came 3 years and state champions. And this was exciting stuff. So I suddenly became an avid sports fan for Lower Merion. But then that was really enough. And when I graduated, I was still a skinny little kid, and I'd been accepted in college. I was actually accepted at Penn, and I said, I'm too young for this, you know. And I talked to my father about it. And we went to see Mr. Gilbert, and he said, well, come on back to high school. So I went back for a whole year. By this time, I'm shaving and getting bigger and looking for girls, and this began a life that has been central to me. My friends I made that senior year have been my lifelong friends.
Yeah, good.
I say lifelong because unfortunately it's long life ended, most of them.
Yes.
I think my last dear friend is now in Alzheimer's disease, and so it's been kind of sad.
That happened with General Beckton. His best friend, his best man, is out in Devon with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
The three, General Beckton visited him 2 days ago. And he said that 3 times Dr. Bob Williams, Jim Williams was his name, but they called him Dr. Bob Williams, said, how's your mother doing? His mother's been dead for 30 years.
Yeah.
So it's so sad that this happens.
Oh, it happens.
Now let's go over to after St. Matthias. Where did you go, Mrs. Dorothy?
After St. Matthias, I'm losing my memory too.
Merion Mercy.
Merion Mercy, yeah.
Mater Misericordia.
Right.
Yeah.
As it was called then.
I think those of us who have trouble spelling, we just call it Merion Mercy.
Right.
I have an aerial shot of that, and you were looking at that. And which building would you have been in?
You know, that's hard to tell because there was a driveway up and around. It probably doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
And
Were you around the back?
I think we were in the mother house. There were just...
I have lots of pictures, so let me send them around. Was that statue? Do you recall that?
No.
No? Okay.
That wasn't there.
Of course, that isn't helping what building you were in, but might that have been? Did you have a similar
Well, actually, we had a dance program, and we looked pretty much like that in these costumes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now this is Waldron, which is next to Merion Mercy. I didn't know what time period, if you might know that. None?
No, I don't.
Okay.
She doesn't have a name here.
All right. And
Yeah.
do you remember, would there have been a band at
No.
Waldron? Nope. Okay. All right, now we start in on some building photos. Any of those look familiar?
Well, we were in the mother house, I think, but just one section.
Around
of
the
it.
front? Or, I mean, is Montgomery Avenue side?
Well, we didn't see out. We never looked out the
Okay.
windows.
Pay attention.
Right. So it was a long corridor and a set of doors where the nuns came through, I guess, from the.
So they were living there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
ours was just back stairs, and the front stairs and the front of the building, we didn't go down. We just used the back stairs. And
Did you get a pretty good education?
I loved the music part of it. We had music, and then HMS Pinafore was performed.
Yes, I think I
And
might
out-
have a picture of
Out
that
of
cast.
class, to get
Okay.
and Sister Augustus was just wonderful. She was
Let me dig down here. I've got too many
Recollection,
pictures.
my goodness.
Here we go. Operetta. Is that what we're after?
That looks wonderful.
Thank you.
I'd love to have
I
a
don't want to
copy
get
of
mixed
that.
up here.
No, we had two very big stars. Gee, that could almost look like me. Anyway,
I think one might be you
Helen
because
Mulray and Juliana
surely you, yeah.
Lockery were
Lockery.
very
Okay.
big stars in
Okay.
our class. But it was a very tight situation. You really didn't know the next class or the other. I met
see.
Victoria Donahoe
Yes.
yesterday, and she said, "I remember the two Dugans, and they were separated by a couple of years. She was in the middle.
In the
of
middle.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have to take a short break, but we'll be right back and continue with our conversation.
Fine.
This is Ted Goldsboro with Living History with the Edgertons, Dr. and Mrs. Edgerton.